Hello friends and welcome to Black Metal and Brews, a YouTube program in which I show things to you, things that I got to cheer me up, make me happy, do something good, support an artist. To start it with, tonight we're going to be drinking a bottle of Dogfish Head's 120-minute IPA. It says it ages well, unlike most of the decisions I've made and will make and continue to make as I do this live. Lid's open, so obviously we can't recork it and start from the beginning with this, so let's hope I get it right the first time, because there won't be a second. So you can see that pour. Look at that, that's beautiful. Beautiful amber color. 120-minute is, you already know what it is probably. It's a Imperial IPA, American Standard. It is, so, I've had it a few times. It's one of those things, it smells like a barley wine. It's so hoppy that it's sweet, you know, like when you, like if you shove your hand inside an ice bath and it burns, this is much like that is so cold it's hot. This is so bitter, it's sweet. So, yep. Oh, and this one's about a year old, so it's easy. It's still got a nice little head there, but it's also easing into smoother territory. It's not terribly effervescent on the tongue, and really it doesn't matter what beer you drink. It's still an experience you're only gonna have for a finite time. And you can do like I do and take a video to try and document it. But are you gonna rewatch it? I don't know. I don't rewatch these. I thought it'd be nice to show you some of my favorite special edition things in my collection today. This isn't all of them, and I'm looking from across the room and already seeing a few that I wish I had grabbed, but I don't really feel like getting up and shaking things around. My phone is propped up on a computer, which is propped up on 3 separate pillows, so I'm really afraid of disturbing it. Anyway, I feel like a lot of the time, even, I have a love of music and a love of the artifacts that come with it. I do feel, however, that a lot of what I get here is stuff I get to try to excite me enough to distract from reality. I don't know about you, but I have a real problem with my life. I have a real problem with the world around me, and sometimes I need something to look forward to, kind of a next thing to keep me okay, because otherwise I have to sit and look at how unexciting my life actually is. First up is Sutekh Hexen's Behind the Throne. It's probably the first special packaged cassette I ever got. It came from Wart Records in Tampa, Florida, and it is encased in wood. The problem with it, it came out easily today. Often the wood is so swollen you can't actually properly take the tape out. Sutekh Hexen's blaring, droning black noise is really almost perfectly allegorical to a lot of the experiences that I seek to avoid. But that's not an indictment of the music. It's a perfect fit. I got that when I lived in Tampa. My life was a wreck then, and I felt like that was something really special that I could have and put on a shelf and say, wow, sure have something nice here. Sometimes you know, and that one was something that, like, it didn't sell out fast. I just thought it was neat. It did sell out because, I mean, it's 8 years ago that tape came out, 9. Sometimes you get something, though, that you fear will sell out immediately. Like Ulver's Troll Sort Metal box set. It's really nice to have a box set from one of your favorite bands, and if you know me, you know that I truly love Ulver, from their most widely beloved things to things that I'll say are probably fans-only eras. I really do enthusiastically enjoy them all. But the problem with something like this is that if you're like me, and you'll find I'm probably going to say this about literally everything in this video, you are afraid to actually use it because it's so pristine and so nice. It's so untouched and so, but also so precariously packed that you're afraid of what might happen if you got your fingerprints, you know, all over the photography, or you know, I mean, there's really cool, like, old flyers and old logos on display. It's really something neat, and most of the time I'm afraid to even move the box from the shelf because I'm so concerned that I will cause some sort of damage to this really special thing. You know, and that's why, like, there's this poster in here that you can tell I've barely opened before, because again, I don't want to, you know, crease it anywhere other than the center crease, and even then I don't want to overdo that lest it tear on that line. You don't want to hang that on your wall. Why would you hang that on your wall? It's part of the box. You know, and it comes with, like, really cool records, like the Vargnat promo, which was like just a demo tape. I know one of my friends said it was way too tinny and raw, but I love it, and especially on the song like Herr Beginner Mine R or whatever it's called, like the high pitched vocals, it sounds unreal. I think it's a really neat. It's funny using the word neat, but I feel like a Marge Simpson talking about a potato, but really that, you know, I'm getting more use out of the potatoes I've bought because, again, I'm afraid of playing this. And even see that? Look at that. I tried to put the sleeve in, and the little corner, it got caught in itself. And now I'm trying to gently ease it back in. I think I'm not destined to enjoy the things I have. You know, and then you've got records like Bergtat, which is phenomenal. You know, that if they'd put out that one record and broken up, they still would have been one of the best bands to ever exist. You know, and then there's Failed Songer, which you can see I have not even opened this box in God knows how long, and it's damaged. It is wrecked. Thankfully, I don't have things to sell them to other people, so it really doesn't matter. You know, that's good and fine. This one also, Nathan's Madrigal. Looking a little rough on the top, but that's okay. You know, real special treat in here, the Nathan's Madrigal rehearsal tape. I've played this tape a couple times. You know, nothing too fancy. It doesn't need to be fancy. It's rehearsal tape. But, you know, again, you can see it's got the kind of perforated card. It's not a J card, obviously. I don't know if you can see it, but I worry that I will damage it. And because of these things, this wonderful collection from one of the most exciting bands to ever create black metal is going underappreciated in my home. This is not, you know, don't feel sorry for me. You shouldn't. I have a very nice thing. And do not offer to help take it off my hands. That's not what this video is about. What this video is about is the fact that you can have a collection from, you know, of very wonderful music from one of your very favorite bands in the world. And if you don't get right with yourself, you will still be a very unhappy person, perpetuating the same very unhappy habits, such as buying things to bring you joy. Sometimes you get things from people that you know and love because their music makes you happy and you want to support them. Sometimes you'll get a tape and you probably can't see it so well, but maybe you can see the pen etching here. You know, they'll even write your name on it so that you have a dedicated personal edition of something. It really makes you feel like you're part of something. And it's been so long since I've opened this that it's actually resealed itself, because again, this is so special that I haven't been able to enjoy it or use it. And so between it being sealed with wax and the adhesive that, oh gosh, see, you can tell I'm being very precious about this. I do not wish to cause it harm. Last time around, I mean, yeah. Oh, sometimes you end up with that, with slime on your thing that you were trying so hard not to damage. And that's okay, that's just what it is, because sometimes, you know, sometimes we just have things because they bring us joy. This is the split between Drouth, a now defunct band from, I believe, Arizona at the time. Now, the fella I know from it who sent this to me is in Colorado. It's split between Drouth and Mizmor, who at the time were not as known as they are, although they've always deserved it. I've always loved them. So, some lovely material here. Hand numbered, I have number 123 of 150. You know, it's very special. I feel things like this bring me closer to the art and the artists who made it. This was kind of a Cloister Recordings thing, which is the label run by the fella in Drouth, Marcus, who is not part of that band. Doesn't exist anymore, but you know, now this is going to be probably put back away and sealed again for years to come, to the point where it basically reseals itself. This is ridiculous to me. I don't know what I gain from that. In this case, there is something to be said for knowing that there are people that you connect with in your weird little way. But oh my gosh, I can't even get it back in because the adhesive wants to stick back to it. I mean, it's also a very humid day. This is not a negative statement against anybody who made this or helped package it. It's a negative statement against my own inactivity and inability to engage with the things I have in love. So you can see I've now resealed it essentially, and it'll probably remain that way for a while. That might bring you a little joy, things like that, to connect with people. Another one that did a slightly better job of keeping the sadness away, like that one, is this. It's a painting, which also serves as the cover of a box set for a tape. And of course I'm struggling to open it because it's humid and everything is swelling to an unreasonable size. I've actually never had a hard time opening this. That's how you know we're having a real great time, you know. And of course when you're depressed like I am, everything minor and major is more frustrating than it would have been. You get, you know, a Polaroid with paint on it. I think there was more to it at one point, and it's reverting in a way. At one point, this was like filled with fluid and a tiny tentacle from like an octopus. Now it's just kind of filled with decay. There's no fluid in there. It didn't leak on anything. It just, sometimes time is as cruel to the things we have as it is to us in our lives. And it's great. You've got the tape from the artist, which is called Exotics. And if you got this box set, you'll also have You're With Us Now, which is just a real neat mix of songs the artist likes. I'm not gonna tell you what's on it because it's special. If you got this special tape that you pay for it, this is not a gift, then you can have that too. And that's a nice thing to have. I do actually put that one on because it's easy. And then a tiny painting. It's even got the proper canvas backing so you can hang it. But again, instead I keep it in this little box because I want it to be close to its siblings, so to speak. And then there's more paintings. I feel like my life as a fan of weird music is like this sort of destiny of being both blessed and condemned to surround myself with all this wonderful art and keep it just far enough away from myself to actually really use it. I mean, I feel like there's probably a kinship with the people that collect those Funko Pop things. I don't know what the fuck those do. I think they are... They serve no purpose. They don't even look that distinct from one another. They are circular and have a couple of slight tweaks so that you can loosely identify it as character X or character Y. Some people keep them in the boxes. You'll just have like a stack of them in your home. And for all the shit I'd like to give, having all this music collection when I'm too depressed to even bother flipping a tape, it's doing me even less good than that. At least with those things, you can look at them and that's all you're meant to do. And sometimes you'll get something really fucking cool and as I said, you're too down to flip a tape. I pretty much only listen to tapes at this point when I'm doing my live YouTube broadcast by myself, and I don't do those anymore because it's stressful to be on camera like this. Sometimes you get this Semilanceata tape. It's the dude who does like Vulcanaz, Wagner Odegaard, Dugpa, all these wonderful projects. It's such a cool presentation with this like coffin thing with with lyrics, I'm assuming, to one of the songs. I don't speak Swedish, so I can't tell. Tape with like that interesting wood-looking design on it. This looks so cool. It looks so cool. And I have never played this tape because I don't know. I don't know why. It's not even that hard to put this stuff back in a way. I've definitely played other tapes I've received since I got this. I was very excited by this. Not even because of the packaging. I actually didn't even realize it was going to come like this. I just thought, oh, that'd be really cool to have. But I think that's the thing. Like, sometimes when you just get in this, like, you fall into a haze. Some of my favorite records of the last number of years are records and tapes that I never bought, but listened to online. And then there's some that I've got that I don't engage with nearly enough, almost because it's like, well, I have it now, and it's just always there, and I can enjoy it some other time. When you have, I've probably got 300 to 500 records and a couple thousand cassettes, and realistically, even if I stopped keeping up with new music entirely, which I keep up with new music, I cannot possibly enjoy the things that I have. More often than not, even the most cherished ones are going to serve as a bookend for something else. They're just there. And it's, again, if you've got your head on straight, which I haven't, you're going to find within yourself an ability to engage with things you have more and maybe prioritize and say, well, I'm not using this, I'm going to get rid of it. But for me, it's like I look at all these, I'm like, oh, that's really special. And to be fair, I can tell you about almost everything I have here, even if I haven't put it on in 4 years. I can pluck that tape out and describe it to you. If you've been following me on Instagram, you see all these random tapes I'm pulling. Some of them I listened to pretty recently, some of them I have not. And I know what they are, and it's not like this is some genius thing. It's what happens when you've listened to a tape. You remember what it is. But where's the fucking joy in it, you know? Sometimes you'll get a triple LP shipped to you from overseas, from Europe. And for some reason, the delivery fails to make it to you. They will send it to the office where you work, except it never ends up there. It just gets sent back across the ocean. And so you'll pay for the shipping twice. And you decide it's worth it because it's beautiful. And you're very interested in the music, in this case, Gas, you know, very... both subtle and not so subtle at the same time. I'll pull out one of the records just to show you. You know, I mean, it's not that exciting. It's a record. This is black vinyl. I mean, I think it's very exciting, but you know what I mean. And if you don't know what I mean, don't ask, because I don't know how to explain it better. You know, but then in actuality, the most exciting part of it really would be the CD, because you don't have to flip a CD, you don't have to change it, and also Gas's music is just kind of free-floating. You do not want to interrupt that experience every song or two. You simply don't. You know, and again, I wouldn't trade this for the world. I'm very happy to have it, and I very much wish that that having something like this would have brought me a more enduring joy, but it's just another thing that I have to find room for on a shelf, and it's a very wonderful thing. It's probably one of the best records of the last decade. You know, spoiler alert, making that list, you know. And sometimes, you know, to be fair, you get things that are all CDs. This I've had for, you know, not quite 15 years, probably 13 years, like, not 30, yeah, 15 years. I got it when it came out. It's 2004. But you'll see, when you have something for a long time, the CD things, they break. The discs will just fall out. There'll be wear and tear on the booklet. The Cure is probably my favorite band, and I'm as happy as I am to have this. Again, I don't own anything that plays a CD. I have my better half has a one of those combo turntable radio CD player things that's meant to look old-timey. You know, it's not, I mean, we use the turntable behind me for our records. Obviously, we're not, or maybe it's not even a turntable, I don't even know. It looks like a turntable, though. I think it's just a CD player now that I think about it. You know, but that'll play a CD in like every 20 seconds. It'll make a skipping, or it'll just cut out for a second. I'm glad to have these CDs. Again, I would not get rid of them. They do not significantly improve my quality of life. I mean, to be fair, nothing I really have does, except for maybe like having a bed, having the air conditioning unit that we bought that looks like R2-D2. After a few summers of not having any AC in New York, we decided to do that. It's like, what's gonna make you happy? I even thought, you know, I don't even know how to move this one. I thought maybe I'd get, I thought I would get a box set containing every Neurosis record, and that would be really fun, and that I could sit and play them. They're one of my favorite bands. I think they have to be if you buy this many of their records. And I bought this when I lived in Portland, Oregon. Again, like every city I've lived in, I was unhappy there, because it doesn't matter. I'm unhappy with myself, not with the place I am, although that can contribute, not with the things around me, although that can contribute. I'm unhappy with me, And 1 year immediately after getting my Hanukkah money, I thought, well, it's awfully nice of people to give me money. I should get myself something that nobody else would. So I got this, and you can tell I'm holding it and not showing you the contents, because I did listen to a couple of the records and the CDs. It's records and CDs, really cool. And then I moved to New York, and most of my things went to a storage shed, and this was in a box. And when I moved here, I left it there. A couple years later, 2018 November, I finally flew out to Portland and went into my storage shed to mail everything to myself because I couldn't afford movers. And I put fragile things and I put like blankets around it, and it doesn't matter because the bottom broke. It's the only damage that occurred to anything in my move. Probably the only one that is not just difficult to replace, but actually irreplaceable. I think it would. I didn't look up on discogs, but I have a feeling this is probably. I mean, this one is worth nothing, and that's fine. Again, I never would have sold it. Never would have done anything with it. And I'm sure that most of the records play just fine. Although, as you can see, those aren't titles. Those are, damage to them. The art book, great shape. Love it. Neurosis, if you ever end up watching this, I love you. Please don't hate the people at FedEx, who also failed to respond when I filed a customer complaint because I insured this, and I said, hey, I need some sort of compensation. I never heard back. Nothing happened. So great, thank you so much. But I'm afraid to enjoy this. Even taking it out of the shelf, I was afraid. So I'm gonna go put this back on the shelf over there now, because I do not wish to damage this in any way. I do want to keep being able, oh my gosh, to play these records that I love so dearly. So sometimes even when you get something that you actually really do interact with, it won't help you, because it is a thing, and things can be damaged. Things can be harmed, things can go away. And whether you're me or just someone like me, it's very easy to realize that you've spent the better part of a decade putting your value in things. And I never made the mistake of becoming one of those people that puts my identity into what I enjoy. I'm grateful for that. I did not become the person who's defined by what I have. That's not my personality. It's not who I am. And I'm lucky for that, except it's because I don't have a sense of self. I don't know who I am. I know that I don't like me. I know that I need to basically be guided along to figure out what I want and where I'm going to go next, which is why I started using things to provide a path. I do love music, and I love writing about it, and I love discussing it here. I love beer. I love drinking it. I love discussing it here. Although, again, I don't really drink beer. I don't really drink alcohol at all when I'm not doing one of these videos, mostly because I can't afford it, to be fair. I'm not a rich person. I've had wealthier times in my life. I'm definitely not buying box sets in 2020 or 2019 or 2018. But point being, I enjoy these things, but I kind of just decided when I was in my 20s that I was gonna insert myself into the things I loved, so that I could continue doing them in a way that made sense. And in doing so, I think I made it even harder to figure out who I am and what I wanted. And, if you have all these wonderful things and you don't know how to properly enjoy them, it's not going to matter. I know so many people with really up-to-date Instagram accounts posting their purchases, and I'm sometimes one of them, but I'm not really a purchaser or collector, despite it. I mean, I'm looking back at stuff that I've had for 16 years just as much as I'm looking at stuff that I've had for 8, just as much as stuff that I got in the last couple years. Those are most of the actual large items I own. So I'm certainly not overdoing it in the way that I see some people doing. That's fine. Some of those people have a disposable income that allows them, but I wonder about the value, the joy. Are you even able to spend enough time with the things, if they do bring you enrichment and happiness? How many hours are you going to spend with that one record or tape? How many dollars do you make an hour? How many dollars did you spend to buy that record or tape? I don't think I could possibly get my money's worth out of what I've put into these. And I get a lot of things at buddy deals or nice prices or promotional materials, and I'm very lucky for that, and I would never complain about that, especially because I don't really resell things. I think I've sold a couple records in some very dark, desperate times, but I'm not a salesman, and I really actually hate the discogs culture. But you can have the coolest shit in the world, and you can think it's cool, and you can take small joy in it being cool, but you're still stuck with you. And if you have all these tapes, do you have time to have friends if you're trying to keep up with your tapes? Yeah, I know right now it's a pandemic, you're shut inside, you're talking to your best friend on your phone, that's cool. But, in a year and a half, let's say, that's early 2022, I'm hoping that you're able to meet up with somebody at a coffee shop or a bar. Say, how have you been? What have you been up to? What's interesting in your life? And if you're to ask me what's interesting in my life for much of the last 8 years, it's a record I bought, it's a tape I bought, it's a show I saw. Shows are actually really fucking cool, but the point remains, I have done nothing to improve my sense of self in this time. I've become a much better writer. If you were reading my blog in 2012 when I started it, you would notice that I've improved as a writer, and I was a fine writer then. I wasn't, I wasn't bad. I was 25. Everybody's going to be better at writing after 8 years of doing it with some consistency. And this is, I'm not ungrateful. This has afforded me an opportunity to interview some beautiful people. I've gotten to work with the Roadburn Festival, one of the most wonderful communities one could ever find or hope to find in heavy metal, especially in the heavy metal festival world. Because, a festival usually strikes me as inhospitable, crowded, and intense, but Roadburn is just really, really comfortable. If you haven't been, I understand it's very expensive to get there if you're American, but it really is something nice to do. When I went for the first time, I bucket listed it. I took my income, my tax refund, and 3 years worth of paid time off from a shitty, barely above minimum wage job at a grocer. Whole Foods Market, fuck you, Whole Foods. So I just basically was like, oh, I can take almost 3 weeks to myself after, again, years, because I didn't really take time off ever, because that's, who does that? What was I going to do? But so I finally just kind of Hail Married it with my life and did something nice, and that was great. So again, please, if you've stuck through this video this far, I do not regret anything I've done or the things that it's brought me. And I've been very dedicated to writing and sharing music and the joy of music. Music itself is a joyful, beautiful thing. And purchasing records and CDs and tapes and digital downloads and shirts and patches and buttons, that helps the artists that make the art you like. I actually really, really strongly encourage you to buy more of those things, despite what this video has. but don't put yourself into that. Make sure that you are taking time to also cultivate other interests, not because, you know, it's bad or one-dimensional or whatever, but because it's actually unhealthy to have buying and owning a thing as your defining interest. Like, that's not good. It doesn't allow you a chance to engage in a more complex way with the thing. You know, and again, it's different if you're running a record label, you're working with artists, you're printing things. Sometimes if you're really DIY, you're doing the old school Discord way and making them yourself. I don't know, like there's a lot of layers to it, and obviously I'm just talking about it, are you a collector, you know? But I got all this shit, and I still, at the age of 33, am as lost as I was when I was a teenager. And you know, I'm working on myself, I think, but also maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just spending nearly 40 minutes talking shit at my phone, making fun of myself, you know, and admittedly there's supposed to be some black humor to this, but I don't think it comes through. I think this just looks pathetic. You know, and it's funny, I'm wrapping up here, I think, but like I just glanced over and it's like, I've got a couple packages that have come in that I need to do a mailbag video for, so you're gonna see this, and then in a few days, there'll be a video about me opening my mail. And the thing is, I'll truly be excited to have those things. I will truly know what they are, be glad to have them, be glad to have supported the people that made them and the labels that sent them to me. But I'm also very aware that everything is so transient and fleeting if I do not also work on figuring out who the hell I am and what the hell I want. Because I'm not happy. I'm not happy with all this. I don't even get like whatever dopamine or serotonin hit that some people get when they're checking out on PayPal. For me, it's just like a sense of almost like obligation. Like, yeah, I need that. And again, especially because I'm on disability and in a pandemic, I'm not spending much. You know, I had a birthday, and I used that birthday to get some fucking records over here. Real cool, real exciting. To be fair, I got, you know, let's look at them. We got 9 Inch Nails records. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. I actually, you know, really, really love 9 Inch Nails. One of my favorite bands of all time. Those will probably actually get played quite a bit. But my life is not improved by their presence. Trent Reznor probably didn't need the help, although, you know, love you, Trent. It makes no material impact on my well-being. I don't have some great platitude, some wisdom to share. Just, I have a feeling that I'm not the only person that finds themselves seeking enrichment through a hobby. And it's good, and I would never give it up, and I would never encourage anybody else to do that, but temper it with other things, please. I'm somebody who struggles to find the energy to shave or like make myself a meal half the time. I definitely, instead of working on tracking the black metal community and keeping it with craft beer, which I can't afford beer. I'm afraid of even getting myself groceries because of my money. You know, instead of those things, I don't know what I should do. Therapy is already in my life, and I'm not gaining anything right now. I just hope that maybe being honest like this is good. I don't know. I wouldn't be watching it by this point either, don't worry. Anyway, be sure to like and subscribe, and click through my channel for more great content on things that you should buy and artists that make things you should buy.